Hi everyone, and welcome again to another video. Today we are again with the Mercedes A-Class W168. This process is changing the wheel. In my case, I'm changing the whole winter set and putting my winter set tires. And in this video, I'm just gonna introduce the proper way of changing your wheel. If you have flat tire, if you wanna change the wheel simply. Of course, you can have the chance to use your manufacturer car jack, but in my case, because I'm gonna change the four wheels, easier for me to use the floor jack. And in just this case, if you use the floor jack, you have to make sure that you protect your jack stands, because it's not the shape of the jack stand. So I put here the hockey puck and a piece of caoutchouc not to harm my jack stands, and I have to make sure that the jack itself is not moving, the whole car is supported. Materials I'm going to use is the WD-40 as a lubricating and anti-rust of the new screws I'm going to use, with the lithium grease. You can use, of course, the copper grease. It's going to be the same here because we're not putting it into high circumstances. It's just grease to make ease the bolts to be in and out, just in case you want to remove it or have flat tire. Of course, the wrench, you can use the simple car wrench if you have it, as I'm using here, or any other tool that make the bolts out and in. Careful if you have new tires. You can see here I have winter tires with offset, high offset value. Offset is you can see the summer tires how flat the rim is. This is offset less than the tires I have. Here I have 55 in the winter tires, and which is the AT value, the insertion depth, and the summer tires I have 35. So each one have its own set of screws. So careful for this, especially if you have new tires and you don't know what is the offset. It's always written on the inside of the rim, and I think I will address it in another separate video, but for the meantime, just careful for your offset. You can see here it's very small, very short, because the ET here is 35, while the winter tires have ET of 55. It's almost double the length of such screw. So careful not to mix it. The short one won't hold the high offset, and the long one will block your rotor. It happened with me, and careful not to do it. You will rotten your mounting hub. Of course, you have to make sure that the handbrake is up, and if you have automatic, put the car on parking, or if you have manual, put the gear on the first gear. Because we're gonna also tighten the bolts while the car is up, so the gears will hold the tires for us. Don't forget the anti-rotation wedge on the opposite side of the place you're working in. You can see that I took all my tires, prepared it. Each one is in the place that's gonna be. You will have it written, each one, where was it. I always store it and write where it was, because I'm against the rotation theory, which I also will address later. Mercedes and BMW always are against the rotation, because you will ruin your 4 sets of tires instead of just finishing the front 2 and buying just new. And the suspension setting for Mercedes and BMW make the wear different from front and back, so you don't want to have really non-distributed wear all over, and which is I'm against the rotation theory. Anyway, first thing I'm gonna start is releasing each bolt of the tire 1.5 turn. So I'm using the car weight to hold the tire for me, and I will release the main friction, which is 1.5 turn of each bolt, and then I can continue and raise the car using the jack, because if I wanna release all the bolts while the car is in the air, it's gonna be a big job and a lot of movement, and I will stress the gear, or I will stress the handbrake, which is not necessary in this way. And same thing, once I lower the car, I'm gonna also tighten to the final torque, which is written for each car manufacturer, which is usually 125 Newton meter, but depends on the car. So now I'm just making sure that everything is ready, and I will just loosen the tire that I'm working on. I'm not going to loosen all the other wheels. You can see here the bolt is freely moving because I already make it kind of loose. all the 5, of course. Now I can jack the car slowly, and meanwhile I'm making sure that the car is not slipping, everything is steady, everything is safe. This is also a big step here, because once if you are using the wrong jack or it slipped, the car will slip also, so careful. Now I'll start in a star shape, releasing all the bolts in a star shape, and I will leave the upper bolts, this one or this one, I will leave it because it will support the tire from falling out. Especially here you can see the metal plate. Each wheel have metal plate behind the hub. This is very, very fragile piece of metal. It's against the mud, against dust, and if it really bent, it will cause you a lot of trouble, because it's a very big plate and it will cause a lot of noise while you are driving. So careful not to drop your wheel on it or on the brake components. This is very important. Leave the last screw, as you see here, support the wheel with your hand before it falls out, and take it out, as it is not by gravity. I can support it by my knee or my hands, as you see here, and I will take it out. Now make sure that you took all the bolts and put all bolts in a box. Don't leave it on the floor. Now I'm gonna spray my new screws, which I'm gonna use, the summer ones, with the WD-40 to avoid having any rust on them. They are original Mercedes, also cost me a lot of money. And I will put at the tip, just at the tip of each screw, either copper grease or that lithium grease, what I have here. It'll make it so easy to take it out and in without any thrusting, or I don't want it to seize inside the mounting hub. Now it's time. Prepared, everything is ready. I'll take my tire, hold it against the hub, and start inserting the upper bolt. I'll start with the upper bolt, inserting manually with my fingers, no wrench, nothing, because I want to make sure that everything is going smooth without over threading the screws, because those are small and short. So manually I made sure that it's up to the end, not rotating anymore, manually, and I will continue same. We took it out in a star shape, putting the one opposite, and then all the 5 screws. Would make it manual. After that I can, while the car is in the air, I can just tighten it a little bit with the wrench. In this case the rotor, the mounting hub will be stopped by my gear or by my handbrake, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna force a lot. I'm not gonna use a lot of force on it, just up to the end that it's snug and tight, and I will continue everything while the car is done. Because in this case, if I really use a lot of force, you endanger your car of slipping off the floor jack. So this is enough. Make sure that the 5s are snug in place, and by this way I will lower my floor jack and the tire change is finished. But I'm gonna continue with you to other aspects which is available for us while you change your wheel. Like for here, the back wheel, you can see I have rust starting over the chassis, and this is very on the surface, so it's the best time for me to catch it up. I'll use my metal brush here, brush it all away as much as I can, and you can see the color will stay, but those are not components that I can change. This is the chassis, so I have to make sure that everything is okay. You can see that the coils are in the process to change, but the parts didn't come yet, so I'll change it in another video. The coils are broken here, and special case of this W168, I'll make sure that I show you how to be changed. After I brush everything, I clean it with a dry cloth, and I will gonna use here the undercoat. The undercoat that we use for rust protection under the car. After I make sure that the surface is clean, after I brush it, and I will just spray it and make sure that everything is covered, so I don't want it to propagate. You can see even the bolts are rusty. This, after we put the undercoat, we can use it also over the bolts. It's gonna be the same effect. No need to put that much, just cover the areas covered with rust. I don't want to put too much over the bolts, because also I don't want it to seize just in case I need to replace. As you can see, just cover everything, avoid covering your mounting hubs for the disc, for the brakes, just in this space and the place that's covered with rust. On the other side I have another problem, same problem on the chassis, but I have also rust on the exhaust. I have the pipes, I have the muffler also, I have rust over it, so in this way the undercoat won't work. So it's going to be the same procedure. I'm going to show you how it's on the muffler here. It's very difficult to see, but here you can see on the rust on the box, the muffler of the exhaust. So in this case, I'm going to use the high heat paint for the exhaust and the muffler. Of course, after I brush these rust of the chassis and use the undercoat, I'm going to use this 650 Celsius paint for the exhaust, especially for the exhaust. And I have another one, silver one, for 250 Celsius, but I don't care about the color beneath my car. Make sure you remove the rust with the brush around the exhaust and the muffler. Clean it with a just dry cloth or air if you have like pump, and just paint it. And this conclude our video. It's just the tips that you can have while you change your tire inspection, and we're going to discuss other issues also in other videos. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope you found it useful. It was very windy condition, that's why I used recorded video over the video, so make sure you use protection, also mask and eye protection. Hope you like it. If you like it, please give us a like and subscribe, and for the meantime, see you in other videos. Bye bye.